Hello, and welcome to another episode of Connecticut at your service. My name is Carmen Nieves, and I serve as your host, and sometimes co-host, and sometimes I have a step-in host. And we are here at Soundview Community Media TV, where we come to you each Tuesday at 6:30, where the format is always when we interview individuals that are making a difference through their business, but are doing something else with purpose that gives back to the community. So today I have my sidekick, my ride or die, my everything. Who's that?
It's me. No, thank you for having me on. I'm so excited. This is our first show together. My name is Terry Perkins. I am the associate producer for this show, and I also step in as a co-host at times. So I'm super excited.
Terry, I wanted us to do, first of all, this is kind of like our year end of 2023, but this is also like our anniversary.
Yeah.
How many episodes?
76.
76 episodes, and you've been with me since the beginning. And one of the things that in this show, and we've had so many people that have come in and just shared who they are, shared their stories. I know on some episodes I've even cried. This is very emotional, and there's so many people in our community. So one of the things that I wanted to kind of focus, and I'm really glad that you're here, is how did you get started? Because I would love to see. So those people that don't know, Soundview Community Media TV is out of Stratford, but we have a subscribership that's Fairfield, Trumbull, Monroe, Bridgeport,
Milford as well.
Milford,
Orange?
And Orange.
Yeah.
So there's, and Milford.
Woodbridge.
And Woodbridge. Yeah. See, we messed up already. But here's what's really important, that we want to get more people involved in public access, because they do that in the towns that we service with three different things, focusing on education, on government, and public, which is what we are.
Yes.
So I wanted to see, how did you get involved with just at the station? Because the day I met you, I grabbed you and that was it. And you've been with me ever since. But kind of like, how did you get started?
Yes, so I got connected here. I visited one time with my uncle, and I got offered an opportunity to potentially host a show. That didn't end up coming through, but then I think I met you when we went to Vanita's show. Yes, so we met there, and then it was kind of history from there. You're like, I got a show, and I wanted to learn. So I just wanted to take in as much as I could, help out wherever I could, and luckily I was able to help with you. You invited me in.
I love it. And I remember it was like, well, we're just all volunteers. And I'm like, no, your new title is associate producer.
Right.
And just some of the things. So I really want people, because I think that public access is the voice of the community. So we want it to be diverse. We were talking about different opportunities, all the other producers that have their own shows. We give you love and much respect, because this is not easy. Our crew is you, Terry, that keeps me going, lets the guests know that they're coming on, getting them ready. We have Jose Ortiz that's in the room, and then just someone who's been here forever, knows everything, and is with us every show.
We drive crazy.
And we drive crazy. That is the God's honest truth. Last minute things. Sometimes the guest sends us things like last minute, and we have to put everything together. Ricky Mestry. And that's kind of like our core team. And at the station is also John E.K., Boomy is also here. And it's a very small crew that does a lot. So when you came here, did they give you any kind of like training? Like, what made you feel comfortable with that?
Yes, so I ended up doing the training with you, and also Sergio, who was helping on the show as well. And that was just it's open to, I think it was all Bridgeport residents. And you have access to the studio afterwards. So it's really good. I recommend going to the website and checking it out. We learned how to work the cameras, do the microphones, do some lighting, some backstage sort of things too. So
lower thirds, how do you get the information on the screen? And it's really a lot. So there's two different things. One, if you, and please log on to the website, get information not only about the training, or if you yourself have a show or a concept that you want to do, and just see, as long as you're in their subscribership, and I can only talk about us since we're Bridgeport, but you can call and get more information. But if you have a show that you're doing everything yourself, you can just submit it, and if there's a time slot, you can do that.
Right.
So we want people to kind of get involved, and I have to tell you, I mean, volunteers are the core. Volunteers and ways that people support the organization so that people can have shows like ours. And 76 episodes we've had that we come each week on a Tuesday at 6:30. So I wanted to, in particular, not only is it the holidays, but I've just felt like particularly like really grateful for the people that help us to get the word out about what we do and the different things. So I wanted to do this show special to just give a year in review, give a little shout out to the people that we've had on the show. We probably won't get through everybody because it's only a half-hour show.
76.
But just, and I want to thank you. You know that I've been having some issues with my mom and how so important she is. And you just stepped in more. I remember when I called you and I'd be like, Terry, can you? And you're like, no.
I don't know if I'm the
No,
right
I don't
one.
feel comfortable on camera and all those kind of things. And over this pretty much almost like 2 years, it's 19 months we've been working together. I've just come to trust you and to love you and to appreciate you. I give you something and I'm like, I don't know, let's just figure it out. And you do. Even today, we had a guest that was here earlier, and I didn't send you the right slides, and within minutes you had them put together. I want to make sure that you understand how really grateful I am, and how really grateful I am that every time we ask individuals in our community, like, come on the show, people are referring other people. We just did a show on tattooing, and I can't even tell you like how many people were recommending their tattoo artists. So we'll do something special about that. But and you've been covering for me. So what are some of the stories that have stood out to you about some of the shows? Like,
well, I think back to probably like the first few shows I did. I remember I interviewed Dr. Leslie J. Valbrun, the Greater Bridgeport president of the NAACP. He was my very first solo show. I was so nervous.
And I watched, and you were great.
Thank you. But I don't know if I've even rewatched it because I'm like, cringe. But I already know just from how I feel going live and meeting new guests. It's been a big change, so I want to shout him out for that process.
for being the first.
For being number one.
First.
But some other people I would say, recently, Kayla McBride, she owns the Divine Source. She had a really interesting show talking about just feminine health and different things like that. So those two kind of stick out a lot, but really amazing people all around. Like, through the show, I thank you. I've met so many different people that
and they love you too.
Oh, thank you.
They love you too. They're like, that Terry is so great. She's like, she showed me how to get there. And I think the biggest lesson that I think we've learned is not to wear green.
Right.
I can't even tell you, like, well, I mean, the green that looks like the backdrop, that green is
I don't
okay.
know if this one's
But it's been such a learning curve, and you never really appreciate what goes on behind the scenes and how you prep. So what are some other people that have kind of like stuck out?
Other people. I'd say also, she was my second one, Deborah Greenwood from the Center for Family Justice.
Yes.
She was very sweet, very encouraging, and just what they do over there, it's beautiful. So
the thing that impressed me about them is that they have this annual like walk, and it's men in heels.
Yes, I forgot.
I thought that was so great, and they have like a hotline, and they have, a lot of rape crisis, and one of the things that when you were interviewing her that surprised me was that it happens to men too. People think it's just women, but it happens to males as well too. So.
Right.
Yeah. So I would say like, I was counting back and I was like, because you've been covering a bunch of my shows. So as we were reviewing to prep for the show, I was like, oh, I did that one. I did that one. I did that one too. And she's like, why are you saying that when it's your show? So so some of I think my most impressive one, and I think you were here, is when I met Jaden.
Yes.
Appleby, and she ran a youth manufacturing. So these were young people that they did like these meetups with young people that were interested in working in manufacturing. I thought that was really great. We've had Malcolm from Level Up Gym. He came, with his partner, and just talking about, obesity and, the things that he did in his gym to kind of help individuals. Patrick Ricketts, he was so funny. I remember him because when we were taking like the picture, because you always do, like, Terry does pictures for us before and after the show, right? While we're sitting behind the desk, and then one intentionally with all the cameras so that you can see, because the studio has like really huge lights. It has cameras, and sometimes you're in the board. What goes on in the board? Tell me a little bit about what we do in the boardroom.
Back there, we're making sure the mics are sounding okay. We're making sure, if we have a picture or a video, we make sure that plays once you cue us in. Other things are like lower thirds or like a website, cue, where can we find you, and then we put up the website, stuff like that.
I think I miss you the most when I run out of time, right? Because Terry has, like, part of her work is to cue, right? So then when you have, I'm telling everybody all our secrets, because I will tell you, this is not that it's easy, but with practice it becomes easier. But they have like this cue card that says like 2 minutes, 1 minute, like 30 seconds, and I'm like, oh, I got 2 minutes, and that's like 30 seconds.
Yeah, basically.
I think I missed you the most when I don't see you there, kind of like doing that. We've had Ramon Peralta, who wrote a book. He's with Peralta Designs, and he has like a book. He has like a book or anything like that.
And a good TED Talk as well.
He's being so silly. That's Jose, kind of like a production. He was trying to show you guys the cards. Today is just really kind of like a funny, kind of like sweet show. And this is Ricky. This is Ricky. So he's telling me we have 15 minutes. So today is just really about just being fun and being grateful. So we've had Pam Lewis, who's with Connect Us, and that's like a leadership and training programs. We've had, I think, the one that I don't want to say impressed me the most, because they all do, because I love them all, but Sandy Jenkins did a program. She's a volunteer for a program that's national, that's called Shoes That Fit. And what they do is donors donate brand new shoes and sneakers that they get given to kids. And I remember that was really memorable for me, because my husband, when I got home, he was like, we got to donate to that. And I want to shout out, I can't forget, I want to shout out my husband, who watches every week faithfully. And because this is public access, it's done for the community, by the community. So nobody's really like paid here except for Ricky, because he's been here for like 20 years. But, I'm a volunteer, you're a volunteer that does that. So we need to have resources to keep running that. So it's public access. So usually our show is live. So what you see is 100% what it is. So if the mics don't work, if I'm not loud enough, or if I'm too low or anything like that, that's what you see. Or that's what you really see. So if I'm wearing green and we're doing the backdrop, sometimes, and this is true, I've had to switch my shirt around. Matter of fact, I had to do it today. Because then you will wash out, and it'll just be your head, and it'll disappear.
Floating heads.
And there's like all floating heads, right? So this is really kind of like fun. And over there's different boards that does the music, so or the voice, and it'll be, you're loud so that you can get it, so that, because your voice is lower than mine. And then mine is higher. But the way that they do that, hers would be louder, mine will be lower, so then they match. Right. There's all these like little things that they'll show you how to do here. This station also has a program What's the one that you worked on with the youth? What's the name of that?
Ooh, the sound effect?
The sound
Yes.
effect. Tell me a little bit about that, because you actually helped with the training and the curriculum for that.
Yes, I was like a media instructor, so I kind of helped. I helped a little bit with the foundational part of it, figuring out helping along with the curriculum, and then I ended up, teaching and interacting with them every day. So we'd go on field trips. They'd be in this studio, and they'd be doing I don't know any other way to say, but somewhat improv and skits a bit, so they could practice, with the cameras and the microphones and doing it themselves. So they got basically the same training that we did, maybe a little more intense, honestly, but it was really nice. It was for teenagers in Bridgeport, and they were all really sweet, really smart.
No, that was wonderful. And I think this year, matter of fact, Jose, who's working with us now in the studio, he did a training this summer that was podcasting.
Yeah.
And he's actually looking for folks to that want to be interviewed, on-spot locations. So if you guys, I'm going to give out the phone number to the station. If you guys have any ideas for a show, if you want to be a guest on the show, if you have an idea, let's say if you want to be on the podcast, you're going to call the station. You can email them at soundviewtv.org, or you can call the station at 203-345-0100 and leave a message. So there's so much opportunities, and I don't know if people know, but public access is funded through the state, and each area has its own. So Stanford has a different one, and I came from Stanford. Mm-hmm. I don't know if Stanford, Norwalk, but there's a lot. I thought that it was just a few stations, but it's also throughout the whole state. So if you're watching this and you don't live in an area that we serve so that you can be in our show, you can find out where public access is in all of the shows. So Terry, we've had so many people just on the show. We had, I think one of the memorable ones too was Raphael and Madeline. Mm-hmm. Do you remember why they were the most impressive to me?
I don't.
So it was an auto body shop, and they did classes.
Yes.
Remember how they were doing classes of teaching you how to weatherize your car, mm-hmm. and they did special ones specific to women. Mm-hmm. So I was loving that. Gigi, who was one of our guests, and you can find all of that on our website, that on the CTC Consulting Services.com website. You can find all the shows because Terry, my fabulous helper, loads every show. So what she does after the show is she loads it up to our website, so you can find every episode on my website, my personal website, and then she puts it up on Facebook, mm-hmm. and then Ricky and the team load it up to YouTube. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of ways for you to get that, and you can find it on live. But there's a lot of shows, the calendar and things are on there. What do you think are some key learnings for you that have?
From hosting?
From all the pieces. And you can feel free to say, Carmen, you're just a crazy person. No. That's okay. No. I got so many ideas, it's not even funny.
No, I'd say just from this entire experience, I just learned a lot about what people are doing in Connecticut, which is the point of your show. I'm the audience, because for the most part, for the beginning of the show, I was behind the camera just watching you like everybody else, like people are watching now. So I was taking in a lot of information, a lot of things I don't know. These people are experts in their fields or just, very knowledgeable. So I'm just taking it all in, and just learning about what people are doing, learning what I can do more, learning who I can connect with, because we've gotten so many resources from people. That's one thing I really loved, just learning about all the resources that are here in Connecticut for people. So I'd say those are my biggest takeaways as far as that goes.
I am grateful when people think of us, right? Mm-hmm. So we had some guests, Sound Coffee, mm-hmm. which shout out to Jeff, who opened up just had an idea, and he was roasting. He got a gift from a family member, same as Sandra. Mm-hmm. Sandra got a blender from her husband and started a baking company. But Jeff got a roaster, mm-hmm. As a gift from his mother-in-law or something like that. And then he started roasting coffee, and he just opened up a brick and mortar building.
That's awesome.
And how awesome is that?
Yeah.
So I was loving that, and he brought us some coffee, and he had a
good.
special blend, right? Because he got some too. The blend that I really try to support the most, and he's got many others that are really good, but there's one blend that's called the Park City Blend.
Okay.
And a portion of every bag of that he sells gets given to a nonprofit.
Nice.
So I'm like all over that. I
Yeah.
love when organizations not only do their business, because we all have, and nobody's saying do everything for free, but I really love supporting organizations and featuring organizations that give back, that encourage, that mentor, that support, that do something other than the making money, because that's what really about At Your Service is about, right? We are servants to our community, but whatever it is that excites us, right? And I know that you are a philanthropist, you're a journalist, and you don't give yourself a lot of credit, which I just think you're just wonderful. I'm publicly saying, I'm gonna try to find some money to hire you outright. I'm publicly saying it. She's like, y'all heard it. Y'all heard it.
You saw the number.
You saw it here, live on the show. We've had Sarah Roy with CT Rides that had like a whole program. Do you remember that one? Tell me a little bit about that one.
Well, yeah, both of them just kind of talked about all the different resources. That's another one. It's just like, we don't know these things, you know.
For Connecticut Rides. And they had programs where they encourage individuals to like have low emissions, because I remember we had like a caller that was asking about what that meant, and they have like where they're encouraging people to ride share, and then if companies support that and they're engaged or whatever or involved, and one of the two people that carpool to the same company, if something happens and there's an emergency, they will actually pay for that person to get home, so the other person doesn't have to leave work.
Wow.
So I just think that we've got to pay more attention to the stuff that we're doing. We've had people, Zelma, who was doing a uniform drive, that she was a parent leader from the Parent Leadership Training Institute, and her and another parent started collecting uniforms for families that didn't have it, right? I'm trying to think of who didn't I mention. We've had the ringmaster for the Barnum Festival, George Estrada. I thought that he was great.
Yeah, that was cool.
We had Magazine.
Edith,
my friend Edith, who is the director of the magazine. It's called Latin Colors, and they feature individuals that are in the Latin community, in the arts and writers and in health and things like that.
It's in English and Spanish.
In English and Spanish, the
was
magazine.
cool.
I thought that was great.
Yeah.
I went and I got a bunch of I got a bunch of magazine covers here. We've had, I think, and I want to give Sandra Carmichael shout out too.
Yes.
Because when me and Terry couldn't like jump in, she actually hosted a couple of the shows. So she did a 2-part series for us with Mike Rohr.
Yes.
And I thought that he was just like really impressive. Is there anything about him that stood out to you?
Yeah, I mean, he's another one with a wealth of information. Remind me of where he runs.
He runs the Emporium, and he's the entrepreneurial foundation.
Okay, I couldn't remember the name, but yes. So they had that, program running where they were offering, what was it, $50,000?
I think it ended up being more like $75,000 that they gave to like
awesome.
small businesses.
Right.
And one of those that won was Downsize Managers.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, and they were a guest that you interviewed them, right?
Yeah.
Suzanne Dawson and Amy Crisculo.
Yes.
And I love what they do.
Yeah.
And I just love, and they talked a lot about kind of like a circular economy. What did that mean to you?
Just kind of making sure that what you're doing, and I don't have the right words for it, but making sure that what you're doing, has meaning, and I'd say to that extent. But what I really liked from them was their advice that they gave, because to me, it's not like they're just trying to, they're trying to help out in a way. So they gave advice at the end about how to downsize or things like that. Just what I got from that interview is that they really care, and they're their business and their nonprofit really came from a place of wanting to help others.
Mm-hmm.
So
I was talking to her because, matter of fact, I saw her not too long ago, and she has this term that she says, "Do you suffer from stuffocation?"
Yes.
Did she say that on the show?
That was on the side,
yeah. And I'm like, we buy stuff, or we have to downsize, or we have to move, or whatever that is, and we have all this stuff that could be like auctioned off and help an organization, or it could just be given through their organization. Things matter. What were some other highlights from the ones that you interviewed?
Yeah, I remember, I think it was Raphael Garner. He has the art gallery, I Dream Experience. I thought that was really cool. Just, again, he actually, it was funny. I think you might have been behind the scenes for that one, but he offered to have me be a host one time. So like,
you should, that was him, because he does all these live events, right?
But no, I really like what he's doing. I think that's really cool. Some other ones, I like Dr. Lori Monaco. She was on the show a couple times. And just, I think she's self-published. And she has different authors come in and contribute to the book that she publishes. So I found that really cool. I like writing as well, and just the stories, they're very powerful. So she was nice to have on the show as well.
And when you talk about Dr. Lori Monaco, because her book series, do you remember the name?
I don't. Yep. I don't want to curse. But
can you say it? I'll say it. Terry won't say it, but I'll say it. It was called Her Badass Story.
Yes.
And these are stories of women that overcame whatever it is. It was violence, relationships, and all of that. And she's so far, their series is on they have like 3 books. So I remember she brought in books, and she was like autographing them. And then she gave us a bunch of her books that we took them and donated them to other organizations. So we just have like a couple of minutes. So for me, I want to give you a second for last words, but for me, this show has been so impactful. I encourage all our viewers to support the station, to encourage diversity, to get involved, and to make the next year the best that it can be by being involved in something that pays the bills, but also provides us purpose. How about you, Tara?
I just want to thank you for the opportunity. I didn't see myself sitting in this seat. So I thank you for pushing me, out of my comfort zone, and just allowing me to be here with you on this ride and to help out in, any way that I can. But for those watching, continue to watch Connecticut at Your Service. The show is only going to go up from here. Make sure to check out the website as well, just to, catch up on what you missed. I also recommend Margarita's episode. That was a really, really good one.
Yeah, don't let me forget that one, because she will hurt me. She will hurt me.
I love that one.
She is so talented and does so many different things. But if you want to watch our show, go onto the website, click on the tab that says Connecticut at Your Service, and you'll see all our shows. You'll get the link. They live on YouTube. I'm going to put up like our final closing slide, because I want to make sure that I don't forget to say a couple of things as we're closing. So our closing slide. So this one, just want to remind you that we are on Soundview Community Media TV. We come to you usually live, except for this one, because this is a special holiday episode, at 6:30 each Tuesday. And Terry, where can they find us and contact us?
On Facebook, Soundview Community Media, and also we post on Carmen's Facebook as well, but YouTube, Connecticut at Your Service, and you can see the email and phone number as well. And
you can click right on the QR code to get information. So if we could go back and show the face again as we do the final closing. I want to just, Terry, thank you for all that you do. All our viewers, thank you for all that you do, for supporting. Thank you to my husband and my family, my husband for watching every single week and letting us know sometimes when there's problems as he's watching. I want to thank the crew, the station, Ricky, Jose, Boomy, John. Thank you for all you do. Take care and thank you. And tune in next week.